My name is Jennifer Ward. I am a children's author and also author of books for parents to help connect children to nature. I have been a full-time writer for many years, writing for children for the past 17 years. My first book published was a book called Way Out in the Desert. This is the board book format or version of the book. There's also a standard format. And I believe this book also comes in a coloring book and jigsaw puzzle. But this is the board book, Way Out in the Desert. This book debuted in 1998. I was inspired to write this book because I lived in Arizona for many years. Most of my life, almost 30 years, I lived in Tucson. I graduated from the University of Arizona, became a teacher, fell in love with children's books, have always had a love of nature and science, and my backyard in Arizona was a certified wildlife habitat. So we had all of these animals making homes on our property, so it was very easy to find inspiration for this book. This book was followed by a book called Somewhere in the Ocean in the same format. There's also one called Over in the Garden and Way Up in the Arctic. But I continue to this day to write about the Sonoran Desert, the desert Southwest, because I love it so much. I have a book called The Seed and the Giant Saguaro, which chronicles the life cycle of a saguaro and predator-prey relationships among animals in the desert and how they may help a new saguaro to grow. This book was given to every first grader in the state of Arizona. I don't recall what year, but it was when Governor Napolitano was governor of Arizona, and she was a huge advocate for literacy. So she selected this book to make sure every first grader had a copy of this to take home, which was a huge honor. Because You Are My Baby is also a Southwestern children's book, which depicts how desert animals might care for their young out in the desert and parallels what we humans might do in that same realm to protect our children from, the sun or playtime or singing to our children to get them to go to sleep. So it's a very sweet book and popular for families that have new additions, meaning little ones. And my most popular book of my 21 books published so far is a book called There Was a Coyote Who Swallowed a Flea. And this book, illustrated by Steve Gray, has brought me so much joy. It's fun to read, it's colorful, and it has invited me to travel all over the country for recognition with awards, including the state of Arizona. So I'm honored to have this book as part of my heart and something I created because it's just a super fun book. As you know, because we sold out of it today like that.
And you recently had some great recognition. Can you talk about that?
I did. The illustrator, Steve Gray, and I were honored this weekend here in February 2015, the citizens of Buckeye voted and named the branch the Coyote branch. So the library contacted me and asked if they might have permission to use design elements from this book as part of the new branch and its structure. So the publisher, of course, granted them permission, and we had no idea how huge the integration would be, but they actually built this book as part of the children's area inside the library. You actually walk into the library and this book is the ceiling, and it encompasses all of the children's books in the library, and you can go inside the book and sit and read with your children. And so Steve Gray, the illustrator, and I went out for the dedication and the ribbon cutting ceremony to the tune of almost 2,000 people showing up.
Wow.
And it was great fun, and I'm still pinching myself that this book is now part of the architecture of a public library. A huge honor indeed.
And you've spun off that story in other ways, right?
Yes, we have, Steve Gray and I have companion titles. We have There Was an Old Pirate Who Swallowed a Fish, which is a swashbuckling version. We have There Was an Old Monkey Who Swallowed a Frog, which is a rainforest version. We have, debuting next week, There Was an Old Martian Who Swallowed the Moon, which takes place in outer space. And next fall, There Was an Old Mummy Who Swallowed a Spider, which takes place at Halloween in a haunted house, and it's spooky and silly. And the fun thing about the Halloween one is all of our characters from the previous books are children wearing those character masks as trick-or-treaters. So we got creative integrating the previous companion titles. So we're having a lot of fun with this rhythm and rhyme.
Well, thank you so much for coming out to Sibley's, and we're so proud to have your book in our store.
Thank you so much for supporting my work, and always an honor